Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Ever find yourself scrolling through some online forum drama and just thinking, wow, where's the line here?
You mean between like actual serious stuff and just internet noise?
Exactly, especially when you've got big personalities involved, accusations flying. It gets messy fast, right?
Oh, definitely. And holding people accountable, especially platform runners. That's a whole other can of worms.
Well, that's exactly what we're getting into today, a really heated moment from the Kiwi Farms forum. And actually, before we properly kick off, we'd like to dedicate this deep dive to Andy Jr. and Coach Red Pill.
Right. So, yeah, this situation, it really touches on that classic online thing.
Yeah.
How do communities handle accusations of, hypocrisy, especially when the people in charge might be or seem to be tangled up in it themselves?
It really forces you to look at the messy side of online moderation, doesn't it? Accountability, perception, all that stuff.
For sure. So we're focusing on the Kino Casino thread on Kiwi Farms.
Now, for those maybe not super familiar, Kiwi Farms is, well, it's a place known for tracking and discussing people they call lol cows. Figures they find ridiculous, basically.
Mm-hmm. And the key player here is Null, Josh Moon, who runs the site. He's pushed back against claims he's biased towards his buddies from the Kino Casino show.
Yeah, that's a show, YouTube, Twitch, comments on internet stuff. And this whole thing centers around alleged past actions of one of the associates, Andy Warski.
And specifically how Warski's situation is being compared or contrasted, really, with another online figure, Destiny.
So our source material today is basically a string of posts right from that thread. We're going to unpack Null's big defense, look at what the users were throwing at him, and just kind of watch how this online judgment thing plays out.
Yeah, it's fascinating and often pretty brutal. We're really looking for those nuggets about what fairness even means in these spaces and how personal ties might, skew things.
Okay, let's set the scene. It really kicks off with this user, Kiwi Andy, who just directly calls out Null. You can almost taste the drama building.
You really can. Kiwi Andy's post hits on something super common online.
Yeah.
This feeling of a double standard.
Right. What did they say exactly?
Well, they bring up how people reacting to stuff about Destiny, the streamer, big audience, lots of controversies.
Okay, yeah.
And calling him a pedo related to a more recent thing with a teenager, those users got told off for not getting the fine nuances.
So you guys are missing the point. It's complicated, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But then Kiwi Andy flips it. They point to the Kino Casino thread about Andy Warski and these alleged old Snapchat leaks, supposedly with someone much younger back then.
Right, I remember hearing about that. Old stuff, though.
Old stuff, yeah. And Kiwi Andy says that thread had to, perform miracles just to barely get an acknowledgement that the leaks were even real. That's the core complaint right there, the inconsistency.
Okay, so one situation gets nuanced, the other gets ignored and downplayed. That's the accusation.
Pretty much. And Kiwi Andy really twists the knife, saying it rings very hollow with the amount of sweeping mental gymnastics and bans that happen in this thread.
Oof. So it's not just inaction on Warski, but action bans, deletions, whatever, suggesting active protection.
That's the implication, yeah. A selective use of moderation tools to shield Null's associates.
And it gets personal, too, doesn't it? They bring up PPP.
Yeah, another Kino Casino guy. Kiwi Andy says PPP can't claim the moral high ground anymore.
What's that?
The argument is, if PPP covers Destiny's drama while still hanging out with Warski, given these allegations, well, Kiwi Andy says they look like the biggest hypocrites on the planet.
Wow. So directly linking who they associate with to their credibility on other topics, that's intense.
It really is, and it captures that tension perfectly. Objective rules versus perceived bias.
Yeah.
Users see defending a friend as an attack on fairness itself, almost.
Well, you can't just tag the site owner like that and expect silence.
No.
Null got tagged, and he definitely responded.
Oh, yeah. A massive point-by-point breakdown of his side of things.
So what was his main argument? He just denied being inconsistent?
Pretty much. He starts off claiming he's been incredibly consistent, and then he tries to back it up.
How? By comparing what he said about Warski and Destiny.
Exactly. He says he stated both are not a pedophile.
Okay.
And that calling either one that for relations with a teenager is a disgrace to the crime of child sexual exploitation. So, same standard applied, in his view.
Right. Did he comment on their actions themselves?
Yeah, he says he condemned Andy Warski being a stupid gooner, trying to get barely legal pussy is gross and stupid. His words, obviously.
With Storming and Destiny.
Said the same about Destiny. And crucially, he claims he did not and have not taken any action in either thread against people calling Andy Warski or Destiny pedophiles, despite my objections.
So he's saying, I disagree with the label, but I didn't censor you for using it in either case.
That's the argument. He wraps that part up, asking, what exactly is the distinction? If anything, this is a fantastic example of how incredibly consistent I am.
That's quite a confident statement, given the pushback.
It is. But then he shifts gears. He starts explaining why the Destiny situation got more airtime, directly tackling Kiwi Andy's complaint about Warski not getting extra special attention.
Okay, so now he's justifying the difference in attention, not just denying inconsistency in judgment.
Exactly. And he lists several reasons. It's pretty revealing about how someone running a platform like that might think.
All right, let's hear them. What were the justifications?
Okay, first up, timelines. He says Destiny's drama is ongoing, like stuff happened yesterday.
Right, fresh news.
Whereas Warski's Snapchat logs are so old that the girl involved is mid-20s now. And the forum where it first blew up, IBS, has been dead for more than half a decade. So old news versus new news.
Makes sense from a what's relevant now perspective, I guess. What else?
Legal stuff. He points out Destiny's situation involved the person making a police complaint, litigation, real-world consequences happening now.
And Warski's.
Null claims Andy Warski's girl didn't even want to talk to the IBS faggots.
Okay, using the source term there for that group.
Right, and that Warski is not facing litigation. So less real-world heat, according to Null.
Gotcha. Less immediate legal drama. Anything else?
Oh yeah, audience size and impact. This one's pretty stark.
How so?
He contrasts Destiny audience of hundreds of thousands invited to the White House with Warski, who he calls a cokehead Canadian with an audience of 4,000 on a good night.
Wow. Okay, so basically Destiny's drama matters more because Destiny matters more in terms of reach.
That's pretty much the size of it,
Yeah.
And finally, he brings up user behavior.
How the complaints were made.
Kind of. He says Destiny's accusers gave extremely clear and concise evidence and tagged him properly. Like they followed the right procedure.
In Kiwi Andy.
Null claims their immediate go-to was to attack me and spam the entire site. So, wrong approach, basically. Didn't play by the unwritten rules.
Okay, so timeline, legal status, impact, and user approach. That's the defense for why Destiny got attention and Warski didn't.
Yep. And he finishes it off with this incredibly blunt message to Kiwi Andy.
Oh boy. What did he say?
Basically, your drama sucks. I don't give a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. I didn't feature it. I'm not featuring it now. And if I want to show up and talk to PPP again about whatever, I'm going to do it.
Wow, zero ambiguity there. Just shut down.
Completely.
Right.
And it really shows you right. An operator like that, especially on an independent platform, they often just decide based on their read of the situation, relevance, impact, how they were asked, not just user noise.
The drama value seems pretty key. So Null lays out this huge, detailed, you could say aggressive defense. How did that go over? Did it settle things down?
Not exactly. Let's just say the community response was immediate and colorful. Lots of sarcasm, lots of direct challenges.
Didn't persuade them then.
It seems like it mostly just poured gasoline on the fire, honestly. It shows how hard it is to shift perception once people think you're biased.
Okay, give us some examples. What were people saying?
Well, Kiwi Andy fired right back at Null's long post.
What was the reply?
So many words just to cope over your gayness for a fat Canadian. Apologies for the tag. It is a lost cause.
Ouch. Straight for the jugular. Dismissing the whole thing as coping.
Pretty much. And another user, the Grillcast, chimed in saying Null could have just typed that instead of all the other copes, little bro. So yeah, the coping narrative took hold immediately.
You just weren't buying the reasons he gave.
Not these users anyway. And Null, well, he doubled down.
What did he say back?
They're all valid points and I'm completely right. You tried to force me to participate in your gay op and you failed.
Gay op? What's that mean in this context?
It's slang in these circles, often meaning like a manipulative or dishonest campaign, trying to trick someone or stir up trouble under false pretenses.
Ah, okay, so he's framing the whole challenge as some kind of bad faith attack.
Exactly. Which, just led to more pushback.
How so?
User odor,
Yeah.
the username's they responded sarcastically.
What did they say?
So apparently acknowledging that Andy Warski is a pedophile, sorry, a fevophile, I forgot how nuanced you are about this, is a gay op.
Wow. Throwing his own words about nuance right back at him and sticking to the core accusation about Warski.
Yep. Just completely rejecting Null's framing and his distinctions. It really shows that once trust is gone, even complex arguments get flattened into, are you protecting your friends or not?
And did it stop there or did it get into moderation specific?
Well, it definitely got into the moderation weeds. And Null's temperament.
Okay.
One user, Roadrunner, actually sort of defended Null, saying he did ban people for calling Destiny a pedo earlier, implying some consistency.
A point for Null, maybe?
Maybe, but that Ardo will jump straight back in.
And what was their counter?
They pointed out Null didn't use giant red text or ban for cheese posts in Destiny's thread.
Cheese posts. Like joke posts.
Yeah, basically off topic, maybe annoying posts meant to provoke.
Yeah.
The argument was that Null used this really visible, heavy-handed moderation style only in the Kino Casino thread, suggesting it was targeted.
Ah, so not just if he moderated, but how he moderated. Different styles for different threads.
Exactly. But then another user, God's strongest milkman, defended Null again.
Getting complicated. What was their take?
They said the red text was unique to this thread as a way to meme about Andy and intentionally try and get under Null's skin. Basically, ununiting the users caused the harsh moderation by trolling.
So who's provoking whom? It's a mess.
It really is. You see defenders framing it as Null reacting to trolls and critics seeing it as Null being overly sensitive and biased.
And I bet the language stayed polite and respectful through all this.
Oh, absolutely not. Fired back again, calling Null a thin-skinned bitch if he's traumatized by red text and large font sizes. And added that the defenders just make Null look like a massive pussy.
Yeah.
The gloves were completely off, just raw insults flying.
It really shows that unfiltered environment, doesn't it?
Totally. Personal attacks are just part of the discourse, especially when hypocrisy is the accusation. It drowns out any actual debate pretty quickly.
And did it stay focused on Null, or did it spill over onto his associates, like PPP?
Oh, it definitely spilled onto PPP.
Yeah.
The personal attacks just shifted target.
What kind of stuff were they saying about him?
User Lobster Cult High Priest said PPP could never claim the moral high ground, and then immediately started insulting his weight, like explicitly. Before he got FA, he's fat.
Just straight up personal insults then. Nothing to do with the original point, really.
Not much, no. It shows how once someone's associated with perceived bias, they become fair game for any kind of attack in that circle. The accusation spreads.
Any other gems?
Another user, Gohar Maria, just added, he can't walk up that hill. Just a quick pointed jab.
So it just kept going, piling on the personal stuff.
It really demonstrates the environment. Unsparing, crude, personal. If they see you as a hypocrite, pretty much anything goes.
And it gets even worse, right? Some of the comments were pretty extreme.
Yeah, the source material includes comments from Doinvine and Autistic Right that are extremely graphic and crude, referencing PPP's waxed plus bleached asshole.
Okay, yeah. We don't need to dwell on the details, but it underscores just how low the discourse can go in these specific online fights. No boundaries at all.
Absolutely. It goes from moderation policy to, well, that. It's a common, if depressing, path in these kinds of heated, unregulated online spaces. Dehumanizing, really.
So after digging through all that, what's the takeaway for you listening to this? We've really seen this core tension play out, haven't we? Trying to be consistent, or at least appear consistent, in these supercharged online dramas.
Yeah, especially when the moderator, Null in this case, has personal ties and is directly accused of playing favorites. His defense was detailed, sure. He laid out criteria,
Sure.
timeliness, legal stuff, audience, how people behaved. But it clearly didn't land with the critics. The community, or at least a vocal part of it, just saw it as coping, like we heard. Sweeping things under the rug for his friends.
It really shows how hard it is to convince people once that perception of bias sets in. The whole conversation just shifted, didn't it? From the facts to Null's own integrity, his personality.
Exactly. The optics, how it looks, seems to matter more than the detailed arguments sometimes. It's all about perceived fairness.
And this deep dive, I think, it shows you a lot about accountability online, how perception works, just the raw messiness of it all, facts, context, friendships, and it all gets tangled up in really weird and, yeah, sometimes pretty crude ways.
It's a wild ecosystem. What seems logical to the person in charge can look like blatant favoritism to everyone else. And that leads to this kind of intense personal backlash. It makes you think maybe the messenger's perceived integrity is just as important as the message itself in these spaces.
So here's something to chew on as you navigate your own corners of the internet. In these super polarized online worlds, where is the line? When does a reasoned defense become just coping or protecting your buddies?
Yeah. And when someone online is defending themselves, can they ever be judged just on their arguments? Or is it always going to be seen through the filter of who they are, who they hang out with, what they've done before?
It leaves you wondering, what does fairness even look like practically in the wild west of the internet today? Lots to think about.